Hello and welcome back to Movie Recap. Today we're going over the 2016 motion picture London Has Fallen. Heads up, spoilers ahead. The movie starts in a colorful setting in Punjab, Pakistan, where a big wedding party is happening. We soon meet Cameron. He shows up at his father's place for an urgent talk. His dad, Amir Barkawi, isn't an ordinary man. He's a powerful figure with a global criminal empire. As the narrative arc unfolds, G7 intelligence names Amir Barkawi a notorious arms dealer and terrorist. They authorize a U.S. Air Force unmanned drone strike to take him out. Tragically, the strike happens during his daughter's wedding, mortally killing many innocent individuals. 2 years later, Michael is jogging next to United States Benjamin Asher. They're talking about serious political issues. Afterwards, Michael goes home to his pregnant wife, who's waiting for their baby. Michael, a dedicated Secret Service agent, struggles with leaving his job for his family and even starts drafting his resignation. Before he can finish, the scene cuts to Benjamin Asher getting a shocking phone call. James Wilson, the UK Prime Minister, has died after surgical complications, leaving Benjamin Asher upset. The story moves to London town, where top protective security teams prepare to protect world leaders at the Prime Minister's funeral. Back in New York, Michael goes to his office and meets Agent Lin. Together they warn the Commander-in-Chief about the risks of going to the funeral in London town. Still, Commander-in-Chief Benjamin Asher insists on going. He thinks his attendance is important. As Michael leaves, he runs into Vice President Trumbull. At home, Michael tells his wife this will be his last job before he steps away from the Secret Service. Soon after, he and Commander-in-Chief Benjamin Asher fly to London town. On the plane, Agent Lin puts Michael in charge of the Commander-in-Chief's International Protective Security Detail. In London town, the head of protective security briefs his task force on the latest and stresses how serious the job is, protecting many world leaders. The motorcade lands at Stansted Airport on Merlin 1 early, surprising John, the head of protective security. Michael calms John, saying that keeping the Commander-in-Chief's movements quiet makes them safer. London town is on high alert with snipers, helicopters, and police all over the city as leaders arrive. When Benjamin Asher arrives, dignitaries greet him warmly. In a chilling turn, a man dressed as a cop sneaks a bomb onto the Canadian Prime Minister's car. Moments later, the car explodes, causing massive damage. At the same time, men looking like the King's Guard open fire, killing the German Chancellor and many civilians. It becomes clear terrorists have infiltrated the police, wearing uniforms. As Benjamin Asher nears the cathedral, mercenaries come out of hiding and chaos erupts. Cars explode and the cathedral entrance is quickly barricaded, leaving the Commander-in-Chief stuck outside. Michael jumps into action, taking out several attackers, then ducks behind an SUV. From there he keeps fighting off waves of attackers. The situation gets worse when an armored vehicle joins the fight, but Michael uses quick thinking to stop it. Suddenly, 2 ambulances speed onto a bridge, and both blow up. The blast damages the bridge, which starts to crack and fall apart. A Japanese official is killed in the chaos. The Italian Prime Minister, trapped in a chapel, is killed by a huge explosion. The French president's boat is ripped apart and bursts into flames on the river. In all the pandemonium, a car is sent for Benjamin Asher and Michael. They jump in and speed away, immediately hit by gunfire. Their driver dodges incoming fire and even knocks out an enemy car. Still, a swarm of motorbikes gives chase. Shockingly, a biker smashes into their bulletproof window, letting attackers shoot through and wound the driver. Michael takes the wheel, skillfully evading pursuers and taking out threats. More bikers close, but Michael's driving keeps them away so they can get moving. After losing their attackers, they reach a helicopter craft and lift off. The scene cuts to a grim news report announcing the death toll from the London town assaults. 5 world leaders, presidents and prime ministers, have been killed. The story then returns to Amir, the mastermind, who is alive and speaking with his son. Calmly, the son tells his father everything is going according to plan. Then he plunges the metropolis into darkness by cutting the power. The U.S. vice president mobilizes nearby units, but they're 2 hours out. The terrorists target the commander-in-chief's helicopter craft. Another chopper is blown to pieces in midair. Under heavy fire, the commander-in-chief's helicopter craft launches flares to dodge missiles, but their countermeasures start to run out. A second helicopter craft sacrifices itself, drawing a missile away to save the commander-in-chief. A Stinger missile still hits, sending the commander-in-chief's chopper crashing into a nearby park. U.S. officials watch in horror. Miraculously, Michael and Benjamin Asher crawl from the wreckage, beaten but alive. Sadly, Agent Lynn doesn't make it. With her last breaths, she tells Michael to keep protecting the commander-in-chief no matter what. From the wreckage, Michael and Benjamin Asher try to find their task force, but can't. Sensing danger, they retreat into a nearby wooded forestland to hide. At command, Vice President Trumbull gets a call from Barkawi. He's alive and claims he's behind the assaults. Barkawi coldly says he's avenging the unmanned drone strike that killed his daughter. He demands they hand over Benjamin Asher in return for stopping the assaults. Vice President Trumbull refuses, they won't negotiate. While moving through the woods, Michael knocks out a police officer, surprising Benjamin Asher. On closer look, the officer isn't who he appears to be. Michael tells Benjamin Asher about an MI6 safe house. They head for the subway to get there. Their break is short-lived. Michael throws a smoke bomb to confuse their attackers, then follows with a grenade, taking out 3 men. A fallen enemy's radio crackles to life. Michael grabs it and hears Cameron on the line. In a brutal move, Michael forces Cameron to listen while he kills Cameron's brother, sending a clear message. Back at command, Vice President Trumbull watches satellite footage of Michael signaling with his weapon. Vice President Trumbull recognizes it as an MI6 sign and hunts for nearby safe houses to find them. Benjamin Asher tells Michael that if capture is certain, he'd rather be killed by Michael than be executed on live TV. British officials contact Vice President Trumbull and together they make a plan. Call off first responders so anyone still moving in the streets can be treated as hostile and taken out by the military. At the MI6 safe house, Agent Marshall meets them and hustles them to safety. Once secure, Agent Marshall plays a coded voice message from Vice President Trumbull confirming his identity and saying an armored escort is on its way to extract the commander-in-chief. Agent Marshall then reveals who's behind the assaults. The man whose family died because of the drone strike, and Benjamin Asher is hit with recognition and regret. Moments later, an alert says a team has arrived outside. Michael checks the cameras and instantly feels something's wrong. Zooming in, he sees the team outside isn't theirs. He rushes to the armory, arms himself, and tells Benjamin Asher and Agent Marshall to take cover. Michael attacks the intruders with fierce determination, quickly killing one mercenary but facing another who draws fire from below. With quick thinking, Michael maneuvers through the chaos, overpowers his opponent, and the duo sprints to an underground car to escape. Agent Marshall starts investigating who leaked information. U.S. intelligence tracks Barkawi's hideout, an abandoned house using lots of power and tied to his old businesses. Michael and Benjamin Asher drive through London town's dangerous streets, dodging bullets as nearby cars burst into flames. They keep going despite it all. Suddenly a truck swerves in, hits their car and flips it. Assailants rush in to grab Benjamin Asher, but Michael fights them off. Vice President Trumbull's hit squad arrives just in time. Michael tells them Benjamin Asher was abducted and rallies them to fight back. At London town's Protective Security HQ, Agent Marshall restores surveillance with a special code, impressing everyone. In a deserted warehouse, Benjamin Asher is tied up while Cameron threatens to execute him live. Unaware, Cameron doesn't know Michael's task force is outside, ready. Michael's radio cracks. The chief inspector warns about roughly 100 armed men inside. Undeterred, Michael leads his task force in, taking out enemies even while an RPG is fired at them. The fight gets intense, but they keep pressing. A sentry turret appears, posing a real threat, but Michael quickly takes it out with a grenade. They push forward, taking down enemies with precision. They use an RPG to destroy gunners and the generator, causing chaos that lets Michael slip into the building unseen. Wearing night vision, he plants C4 by a gas line and quietly takes out several attackers. He blends in with the enemy until the generator is turned back on, then keeps dismantling foes with efficiency. Injured but focused, he racks up multiple kills, using grenades and whatever weapons he finds. Meanwhile, Cameron is broadcasting the Commander-in-Chief's forced execution live, forcing Benjamin Asher to recite his oath on camera. In a dramatic moment, Cameron grabs a sword as Michael bursts in. Michael says, "I'm not watching this." Guns blaze. Michael tears through the room but runs out of ammo right as he faces Cameron. The fight goes Michael's way until Cameron stabs him in the gut. Michael keeps fighting, beating Cameron until Cameron's brother throws a grenade and they escape. As they flee, they're trapped, with enemies firing from both sides. With no choice, Michael tells his team outside to blow the C4. The blast demolishes the building. Michael and Benjamin Asher jump into an elevator shaft to survive as Cameron and the others are burned. U.S. troops sweep the wreckage and find Michael and Benjamin Asher alive and battered at the shaft's bottom. Benjamin Asher salutes Michael for saving him. Michael hands over a device he recovered that can locate Amir Barkawi. The story shifts to Agent Marshall confronting Intelligence Chief John. She reveals he's Barkawi's mole. His fingerprints were in the security system, a big mistake. He tries to excuse himself, saying he wanted to expose defense spending flaws, but Agent Marshall isn't buying it. She executes him. Barkawi gets a call from Vice President Trumbull, who tells him his plot has failed. Barkawi says defiantly that this is just the beginning. Vice President Trumbull looks outside ominously. Before Barkawi can react, a drone strike flattens his base and kills him and his remaining network. 2 weeks later, London town begins to recover. Michael goes home to see Leah and their newborn daughter Lynn, named after their fallen friend. As he thinks about quitting, he sees Vice President Trumbull on TV. Reinvigorated, Michael deletes his resignation and decides to stay. The recap ends by reminding viewers of the human cost behind political decisions, and by urging us to remember those lost. It signs off with a note of thanks to the audience and a simple call to subscribe for more recaps and updates, hoping they'll return for the next breakdown of a motion picture story and stakes. Thanks for watching. If you're new, subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a great day.